Hi everyone, it's Tim again. Let's learn Jailhouse Rock on guitar by Elvis Presley. I teach a mixture of quality song tutorials on this channel, from beginner and intermediate songs like Jailhouse Rock to much more advanced playing by bands like Metallica. So there's something here for every level and taste. Thanks so much guys for supporting and subscribing. There's a lot more coming, so you'll be able to keep learning your favorite tracks easily and most importantly accurately. Now let's get into playing Jailhouse Rock. Before we get going guys, just a quick word about the tuning. Let's learn it in standard tuning today since it doesn't affect the playing of the song and it's quick and easy. We don't have to retune. But if you did want to play along to the album, then you'll have to drop all of your strings down 1/2 step. Now here's the verse riff. The track opens up with 2 chords, and we're using the same chord shape, just moving it up 1 fret. So let's just figure out where to put our fingers first. Pinky on the 6th fret of the A string, 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the D string, 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, and the 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the B string. Okay, now for those of you familiar with the cage system, this is a D sharp or an E flat chord with the C shape. Okay, I won't get too far into that, but there you go. Now we're just moving that up 1 fret to an E. So there you go. Now the only tricky part about that is the syncopation. It's on the end of 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2. Right, so you have to hit that on the end of 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3. So you repeat that a couple of times for the intro and then just keep repeating it a few more times for the verse, and then we get into the chorus. The chorus is an 8-measure progression, and to learn this quickly and easily, it's good to have the progression in mind. We're going to have 2 measures of A, 2 measures of E, a measure of B, a measure of A, and 2 measures of E at the end. Okay, now we're going to outline those chords by using a very basic blues boogie pattern, and that pattern repeats every measure. So on our first 2 measures, that would be outlining an A chord, we're going to do 2 hits on the open A, 2 hits on the 4th fret of the A string, 2 hits on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then 4 and 2 on the D string. And just put a palm mute on for the whole chorus as well. You don't have to take it off. And those are 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So repeat that twice to outline the 2 measures of A. Now we have 2 measures of E, so we're just going to move that down 1 string set and outline the E. So we start with the open E, 4th fret on the E, 2nd fret on the A, and then 4 and 2 on the A. Okay, now we're moving on to the outline the B in measure 5 of the chorus. So we hit the 2nd fret on the A string twice, slide up to the 6th fret of the A string twice, then the 4th fret of the D string twice, and then 6 and 4 on the D string. And we only have to do that once because we're only outlining the B for 1 measure. And then we come down and outline the A again for 1 measure. Same as we did at the beginning. And then we're going to outline the E for 2 measures. But we stop it after 2.5 beats because we have to get back into our... Okay, so on those last 2 measures of the chorus, we go. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, and you're back into the verse. So the solo is interesting because it's the only part in the song that actually swings. So what I mean by swing is swing 8th notes. Up till now, everything has just been straight 8s, like, right, just. But swing eighth notes, that first eighth note of each beat gets a little bit longer, so you start getting that swing feel, right? So the solo starts off with that swing feel. So what we're doing is we're fretting 2 frets on the 12th fret. Third finger, you can fret the high E string at the 12th fret, and the second finger will get the G string at the 12th fret. And it's pretty easy just to mute off the B string in between. Your fingers just kind of naturally do that. So you really just want to get this rhythm. We're going to start with an upstroke. Get it, that syncopation. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So we're doing a lot of syncopation here where we're accenting the ups. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you can cut that last one short as a staccato. Okay, so you're just doing a lot of up, down, ups. Okay, now that takes care of our first 2 measures, and then we hop down to what's unison bend. We're fretting the 9th fret on the B string with our first finger and getting the 11th fret on the G string with our third finger. And you can practice bending that 11th fret up until they come into tune. And that's kind of the pitch that you're going for, but he's really just, you know, kind of shaking it and giving it some vibrato while he's doing a little syncopated sort of rhythm. It would be a highly improvised rhythm. So as long as you're getting locking in with the beat, right, you could almost keep that same rhythm going. And you're just kind of shaking it. So you don't have to be too accurate with like when are you bending and when are you releasing. Just kind of shake it a bit as you're doing it. But the rhythm that I've got kind of figured out as close as I can to the album is starting on the end of 1 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we're jumping down to a B. So those 2 measures where we're doing our unison bend really slow will sound like this. Okay, now we get down to this B chord, which is barring across the 7th fret on all the strings with your first finger. Third finger will go on the 9th fret of the A string, pinky will go on the 9th fret of the D string, and then the second finger goes down on the 8th fret of the G string. Okay, and we're hitting that on the end of 4, right? Remember, we're going N4, and so we go N1, N2, N3, N4, N. So again, we're just keeping that syncopation going where we keep missing the downbeats. So for N1, N2, N3, N4, and get that one nice and short. Slide that down 1 whole step to A, and do that same rhythm. So those 2 chords would be 4. Okay, the whole solo up till now will sound like this, nice and slow. Okay, now we actually get out of the shuffle rhythm. These last 2 measures, we go back to just straight 8th notes. Okay, and we're really just flip-flopping back and forth between an E chord and an A chord. So we're going 1 end on E, 2 end on A, 3 end on E, 4 end on A. And then 1 and 2 end on E. And there is, on the recording, that second time you go to the A, I do hear the highest string in there. Right? But I don't think that would have been intentional, so you can just basically ignore that and go with A. And then we're back into our verse. Now, for those of you that don't want to play the solo, maybe you have another person that's soloing or a different instrument, and you just want to comp through that, well, that's the same progression as the chorus. So you could just keep that chorus pattern going that we talked about, but you'd probably want to put on a shuffle feel for that just to match what the rest of the band might be doing at that point. Or else you could even try lifting the track up with beefier patterns like this classic boogie or shuffle pattern. Right? You could try that. At the end, you might want to put in a, like just going back and forth between E and A just to match up with the soloist. And there's how you would comp through that. And that's basically the track. All that we have to talk about is the outro, and the outro is just keeping this pattern going on E. So our other choruses end with the last two measures being jumping back into the verse. Well, the last chorus, you just go. And then the outro, just keep it going. And it fades out. And there you go, that's the track. So there's how you play Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley on guitar. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe for loads of your favorite tracks with full tab. I also take suggestions, so just drop me a comment with what you want to learn in the comments below, and I'll get to it in a video soon. I'll see you soon.